So begin in a position on your mat that feels comfortable. I'm going to start seated tonight, and we'll all bring ourselves up to a seated position to work into the spine. But if you'd like to start your breath work lying down or in child's pose, then do. Just making sure you're comfortable wherever you are. Close your eyes, soften your jaw. Rest your tongue on the roof of your mouth and start to take gentle breaths in and out of your nose. As you're breathing, on the inhale, feel the expansion of the ribs. And on the exhale, pushing the air out. With each round of breath, trying to really focus on fully exhaling. So long, not forceful, just long exhales, push all of the air out. You'll feel a contraction in the abdominals. You'll feel the lower ribs drawing in and down. And then again, inhale. Feel the expansion and exhale, pushing the air out. On your next round of breath, taking a full breath in, just gently add a pause at the top of that inhale for a couple of seconds. Then exhale, focusing on that full exhale. And add another pause, and that might be a couple of seconds, and over time you might be able to increase that time before your next breath in. Just repeat that cycle. So breathing in through the nose, adding a pause, breathing out of the nose and adding another pause. With each round of breath, allowing the body to relax more. Take a moment now to just notice any sensations going on in the body. Any areas that might feel tight or perhaps tired. Maybe you've been stuck in a certain position all day. Just take note of the feedback your body's giving you. Build your awareness into those areas in the body. As we move through the practice, have the intention of trying to find some more space and increase the energy flow into those areas. Using your breath as that bridge or connection between the mind and the body. When you feel ready to, you can start to invite a bit of movement into the body. So if you're in child's pose, walk your hands around to one side and then the other. Just go for a nice lateral stretch. And in your own time, when you feel ready to, we'll come up to a seated position. But just take your time to come up. When you are sitting up, you might need a block under your bum if you feel like your knees come up really high and you can't sit cross-legged, or you can take the ankles further away from you and that might feel more comfortable. So you don't have to be able to sit tightly cross-legged here. Try to sit up out of the hips so we're not tucking the bum under and rounding the spine. Think about length through the spine. Give the shoulders a little roll forwards and back. Still breathing in and out of the nose, being aware of that breath. We'll go for a lateral stretch, taking one hand over to the side and reach the opposite arm up. Take a breath in through the nose, and as you exhale, lengthen out even more. Really expand out through the top side of the ribs. Draw the belly in, pulling in from the bottom side of the ribs. Then coming up, taking a breath. And exhale to the other side. Just breathe naturally as to what feels good for you, but having the intention as you move side to side to find some more space. Pressing the seat bones down into the mat. Keep moving side to side at your own pace. Hopefully feeling some loosening off into the tension that we create into the lower back as well, into the outer hip. And from here, we'll take both the arms up and overhead. Bring one hand behind your body, just the fingertips onto the ground, that other hand across the body onto the knee. Draw your back shoulder back and open, so adding a twist. Take a breath in through your nose. As you exhale, twist a bit more, rotating through the spine, leading with your chest, looking over that shoulder. Inhale, coming up, reach the arms up. And exhale, switch to the opposite side. Once again, move at a pace that feels good for you. You can hold either side for longer if you feel like you need to spend more time there. Otherwise, just starting to move a bit more dynamically in time with your breath when it feels good for you to move, reaching up in the center and then switching to the opposite side. Building some heat into the spine and the core. Once more each side. And come back to the center. We'll place the hands onto the knees, roll the chest through and open the chest. So think about extending your spine now, puffing the chest out, drawing the shoulders back towards each other, and then tuck your bum and round out into spine flexion, chin to chest. Again, rolling through, opening the chest, extending the spine, lifting the eyes. And then rounding out as you exhale, do one more of each, rolling through, opening up, and rounding out. Try and have a go at making some circles from here. So we're going to go across to one side laterally, draw the chest forwards at the front, across to the other side, and round out at the back. And you can change direction at any point. I'm just trying to open up, rolling around, and as if the spine's that axis and we're moving around it. Working through any areas that you might feel tension, you might get a bit of ticking or crunchiness going on. And then when you're ready to, we'll go onto all fours. So make your way onto your mat, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Hook your toes to start with, stretch into the soles of the feet, grip down through the toe joints. Should feel quite nice to just work into that tension that we tend to create all day in the feet. So have a little bit of a stretch there. And at the same time, turn your fingertips towards your knees and stretch your wrists. You can hold it like this with your bum on your heels, or you can move around. Bit of a mixture's fine. Do what feels good. If you need a deeper stretch in your wrist, just take the hands further away. Press your bum back. Think about gripping down through the top pads of the fingertips. You'll need to keep that or maintain that throughout the practice as we spend a lot of time on our hands. So really gripping into the mat will help to protect your wrist. From here, come back up into your tabletop, make some circles or rolls through the spine. We'll go into a couple of cat and cows before we come into downward dog. So from a neutral position, start from the base of the spine by tucking the bum, curling up one vertebra at a time, or having that visualization that you're curling through one vertebra at a time. So we can do it nice and slow and segment. Tuck your chin, rounding through the spine, push the ground away, then tilt the pelvis forwards, going the opposite way, working into extension, slowly moving up through the spine, open the chest, lift the eyes, draw the shoulder blades down into the back. Again, tuck your bum, curling up, rounding out into cat, breathing through the nose, tilt the pelvis forwards into extension. One more of each, tuck your bum, curling up, nice and slow, rounding out the top, holding it here. Keep tucking the tailbone, keep pressing the ground away, take a breath in. As you exhale, round out even more. Then gently tilt the pelvis forwards, working your way up through the spine into extension. Move all the way up, lift the eyes, open the chest between the shoulders, and on your inhale, try to expand your chest even more. As you exhale, see if you can find a bit more space. And then release to a neutral position. We're going to hook our toes again, have the hands shoulder width, send the bum back, lift the hips into downward dog or Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Take the head and the chest through the shoulders. The knees can be bent. You can have a go at pedaling through the feet, extending one leg, drawing in and switching them. Working into the calves and the hamstrings a bit more. Don't worry if the heels don't touch down. Just go to where you can. If your calves are feeling tight, it might feel nice to hook one foot on the back of the other ankle, stretching into that a little deeper, and then switch. Lift your eyes to your hands and we'll just walk up. You're welcome to step in or hop in at any point. You can lift the hands up away from the ground. You don't have to be able to fold yourself in half, so just do what feels right. Once you're at the top of the mat, we'll come up halfway, create a tabletop position with the spine. Inhale through your nose. On your exhale, think about tilting your pelvis forwards. You can bend your legs, fold over the legs and hold the elbows. We'll ragdoll on this one. Gently rocking side to side. Still breathing in and out your nose. And then let's curl up through the spine, standing in Sadasana, mountain pose. We can have palms open, shoulders relaxed down, or palms together at the chest, whichever you prefer. We're going to have feet directly under the hips, or you can go for a narrow stance and have the big toes touching, but you will need a gap between your heels. We'll take a breath in, reaching up, growing nice and tall, nice energizing inhale, squeeze your bum. On your exhale, soften the knees, fold over the legs. Bring your hands to the ground and step to plank. Tuck your bum under, press the floor away, wrap the shoulders. From our plank, we can lower the knees, or you can go for a full high plank to low plank. We want the shoulders to lead and keeping the elbows directly above the wrists. So try not to let the elbows fall back. Tuck the bum under, nice and controlled as you come down into your stomach. Travel through to an upward dog, or you can go into your forearms. Lengthen your spine. Lift your hips, downward dog. So breathing in and out of your nose. Draw the lower ribs in. Allow the shoulder blades to elevate as you push. And then walk, jump, hop. Bring yourself up to the top of the mat, however feels good for you. We'll come up halfway, take a breath. On your exhale, tilting that pelvis forwards again, folding over the legs. If you can do it with straight legs, then keep the legs straight, pull the belly to the thighs, squeezing the stomach muscles and the thigh muscles together, and then curl up. Palms come together, reach up nice and tall. Squeeze the bum and fold on the way down, back into Uttanasana. Bring the hands to the ground and step to plank. Tucking the bum under, nice and strong through the whole body. Again, you can lower the knees or let the shoulders lead, bend the elbows, keeping the elbows above the wrists, slowly lowering down and transitioning through to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward dog. Lift your hips, downward dog. Breathe into your downward dog. Begin to walk in or jump in, step in. We'll come up halfway at the top of the mat, inhale. On your exhale again, tilting the pelvis forwards, folding over the thighs. Curl up through the spine, palms come together, reaching up once more. Very nice and tall, and folding on the way down. Lift your eyes, step to plank. Tuck your bum under, press the ground away. Allow the shoulders to lead, lower down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Transition through Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward dog, lift your hips, downward dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And breathe. You can make any shapes here in your downward dog. If you'd like to go for leg raises, then go for it. I'm going to go for a twist, so you can join me for a twist. Reaching one hand towards the opposite leg, that can be the thigh, calf or ankle. Looking underneath that armpit, the knees can be bent. Inhale. Exhale, twist a bit deeper. And then switch to the opposite side, reaching through. Lift your eyes, walk, step, jump, bring yourself up. We'll come up halfway, inhale. And exhale, fold. Curl up, standing tall into Sadasana. Have a moment to breathe. At any point that we come to this position, you need to have a drink, sip of water, go for it. We're going through a very similar flow. This time we're going to make our way to some side plank holds. If side plank feels too much, you can lower your bottom knee onto the ground. Or if for any reason that you need to skip this out, you can go to a normal plank hold. And we'll be doing this on the forearms. So when you're ready to, palms come together, reach up nice and tall. We're going for a lateral stretch from here. So I just want you to hold on to one wrist. And from there, you're just going to reach across and go for a nice deep bend. Tighten up through the belly, switch the grip and reach away across to the opposite side. And coming back up from here, we'll fold down, Uttanasana. Lift your eyes, bring the hands to the ground, step to plank. Hold your plank position. We're going from a high plank onto the forearms. You can lower your knees if you need to lower your knees. Keep the hips and the shoulders in line. And then from here, we're just going to turn it into a side plank onto the forearm, really engaging this bottom shoulder, so not sinking into it down here. Lift the hips, push through the shoulder, the top arm can lift. If this is too much, just lower the bottom knee, like so. And then from there, let's turn back to the front, into plank, tucking the bum under. Switch to the opposite side. Really stacking through that bottom shoulder, feeling that back of the shoulder really engage. All the way through the lateral trunk, keep lifting the hips. Keep breathing. And turn back to the front, holding your low forearm plank. Press up to a plank with straight arms. And from here, shoulders need lower down, chaturanga. Travel through to upward dog. Lift your hips, downward dog. Breathe. Again, you can always make any shapes you want to make in your downward dog. When you're ready to, lift your eyes, start to walk or step or jump in. Come up halfway, take a breath. Exhale, fold, pushing the air out of the lungs, tilting the pelvis forwards. Curl up through your spine. Take the arms overhead, reaching tall. We'll go for those lateral side bends again. So holding on to one wrist, reaching across. And then coming up, tightening through the belly to come up, switch to the opposite side. And coming up, folding down, Uttanasana. Lift your eyes, bring your hands to the ground, step to plank. Tuck the bum under, nice and strong in the whole body. Go from there to your forearms. Try not to leave your bum sticking up in the air. Tuck it under. Shoulders are directly above the elbows. From here, we turn to side plank. You're welcome to make this harder by lifting that top leg and give it a go. You can even just go in and out of it. See how it feels. Keep breathing. And turn to plank at the front. Tucking the bum under. Drawing those lower ribs in. Switch to the opposite side. Inside plank again. Testing. How does it feel to lift that top leg? Keeping the top foot flexed. Feeling the outer hips engage. Really pressing through that bottom shoulder still. And turn back to plank. From plank, press up to straight arm plank. And lower chaturanga dandasana. Travel through upward dog. Lifting back, downward dog. Breathe in your downward dog again. Make any shapes that you want to make. When you're ready, walk, step, hop, jump to the top of the mat. We'll come up halfway, take a breath. And exhale, fold. Curl up. Take the arms up and overhead once more through, adding our lateral bends, reaching across to one side. It might feel nice from here to actually allow the body as you reach to fold all the way around, come up to the other side and then go the other way. Just allow the body to go soft as you fold. It should feel nice, don't force anything. We'll do that once more each way. Reaching across, you can soften the knees all the way around, coming up. Reach across. Coming up. And now we'll just fold into Uttanasana. Lift the eyes, bring the hands to the ground, step to plank. From plank, go onto the forearms, tuck the bum under. Breathing into it, making sure those hips stay in line with the shoulders, don't stick your bum up in the air, press through the shoulders. Turn to a side plank. Again, you can challenge your hips by lifting that top leg. Otherwise, just build that stability in your normal side plank. If you need to stagger the feet, you can lower the bottom knee. Turn back to plank at the front. And then switch to the opposite side. Keep lifting those hips, squeezing the glutes, and then turn back to the center. Press up to a high plank and lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Travel through to upward dog. Press and lift back to downward dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Breathe. From here, have a little challenge of trying to walk the feet in as high as you can, and then walk them back again. Keeping the legs straight, but not forcibly locked out. So if your hamstrings are really flexible, you'll probably find you can walk all the way in towards your hands. But if you're not quite there yet, it might literally be one little step forward and back, and that's okay. Just want you to do it a few times, stepping forwards and back, or maybe walking all the way in and pressing as hard as you can, walking all the way back. Do it once more, walking in. Maybe when you get to the top, inhale, exhale, fold deeper. Walking it back. And then we'll come up to the top of the mat. So again, you can walk in or choose to step or jump. We'll come up halfway, take a breath. And exhale, fold. Curl up. Rest into Sadasana. Mountain pose. Have a drink if you need a drink. Notice what the breath's doing. Draw the breath back to where it was at the beginning of the practice. Gentle inhales and exhales. Going to come into a warrior flow. Really get the lower body nice and open. Focus on building some strength in the legs. So when you're ready, bring the palms together, reach up nice and tall. Exhale, fold into Uttanasana. Lift your eyes, bring the hands to the ground, step the left leg back, raise the arms up. Tuck your bum under and draw the ribs down. And the hips might be feeling really tight, especially on this first one. So don't worry about straightening the back leg, but over time you can work to straighten it, squeezing the glutes. See how deep we can get in the hips, but remain in that position actively. So if you're quite flexible, we're not sinking into it. So we're going to tuck under, really engage the legs. Squeeze and pull your front heel towards you, and then squeeze your bum and press your back hip forward so they're almost squeezing towards each other, and you'll feel a lot more heat and activation. From here, dive the hands down, step to plank. Lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Travel through to upward dog, lift your hips, downward dog. Lift your eyes, step your left foot forward. We'll do the same on the other side, raising the arms up. Just getting a feel for that position first. Gradually, we'll start to increase and turn on that tension in the body. So tucking the bum under, ribs are down, squeeze this back glute, thinking about that back glute pressing the hip forward as the leg can start to extend. Pull your front heel towards you so you're feeling the feet squeezed together almost. Standing strong. Seeing if you can go a bit deeper, but still keeping that active tension. And dive the hands down to plank, lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Travel through to upward dog, lift your hips, downward dog. And breathe. From downward dog, walk, step, or jump in. Come up halfway, take a breath. And exhale, fold. Curl up. Palms come together, reach up, grow tall. And exhale, back down again. Lift your eyes, step your left leg back, raising back up into that high lunge, drawing the ribs down, pressing the back hip forward, pulling the front heel towards you. Lots and lots of heat in the lower body, tightening through the belly. Obviously, if the shoulders are tight, you don't have to have palms together, so feel free to take them wider. Keep your arms straight and just take them out, or even palms to the chest if that feels better for you at the moment. From here, we're going to open into a warrior two and open the arms. So adjust with the legs slightly. If you've gone for a shorter stance, you can make it more challenging by using more of the length of your mat. If you used to do the opposite, draw the feet closer together. Tuck the bum under, draw the ribs down. Make sure this front knee isn't popping inwards. Open it out. Hands can go in line with shoulders. Look over the front fingertips and stand nice and strong. Squeeze your feet towards each other again, feeling loads of heat and tension to the legs. Seeing if you can go a bit deeper. Nice and active through that back leg as well. Feeling that front thigh externally rotating. Getting some heat in the glutes. Dive your hands to the front of the mat, step to plank, Chaturanga Dandasana. Travel through to upward dog, lift your hips, downward dog. From downward dog, lift your eyes, step your left foot forward, raise up into that active high lunge again. Each time we come back to this high lunge, maybe test out, we can start to extend that back leg more, but we shouldn't be feeling it in the lower back. So if you are, you probably need to bend that back knee a little bit more. We're going from here into warrior two. So open out that back leg, tuck the bum under, nice deep bend in the front hip, or as much as you can manage. Wherever you are, make sure it's challenging you, but not so much that you can only stay there for a few seconds. Engage the muscles in the back leg, pulling up on the muscles above the knee, the quadriceps. The front leg, the knee is tracking the toes. We're really squeezing the glutes, and that's helping to open our hips. Take your eyes over the front hand. Squeeze the feet together. Feel that tension in the inner thighs. Windmill the arms all the way down. Step to plank, Chaturanga Dandasana. Come through, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Lift your hips. Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Lift your eyes. Step, jump, hop to the top of the mat. Come up halfway and inhale. Exhale, fold. Curl up through your spine. Bring the palms together, reaching up, growing tall. And folding back down again, back into Uttanasana. Bending the legs if you need to. Lift the eyes, step the left leg back. Raise the arms up into your high lunge. Squeezing those legs towards each other again. The front heel pulls back. The back glute presses that hip forward. Open into warrior two. Flip your front palm, reach it forwards and back. Reverse your warrior. The back hand can go onto the back leg, or you're welcome to take that back hand behind you and bind, interlacing the fingers or holding the fingertips. Really squeezing the muscles in the legs, the bum. Make sure we don't go soft in that back leg. And then windmill the arms all the way down. Step to plank, Chaturanga Dandasana. Come through, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Lift your hips. Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Downward dog. Lift your eyes, step your left foot forward. Raise up into your high lunge. Nice and active again. From here, open into your warrior two. Squeezing the glutes, nice and deep in the hips. Flip the front palm, reach forwards and back. Active in that back leg. Still breathing through the nose. Squeeze the feet towards each other. Expand out through the ribs. And then let's windmill all the way to the front of the mat. Step to plank, Chaturanga Dandasana. Travel through Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Lift your hips. Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Breathe. Lift your eyes, step or jump to the top of the mat. Come up halfway. Inhale and exhale, fold. Curl up. Palms come together, reach up. Nice and tall. Folding on your exhale. Lift your eyes, step the left leg back. Back up into that high lunge. Opening that back hip even more. Nice and strong through the body. Open into warrior two. From warrior two, we're going to extend our front leg, which will feel nice for the thigh. Reach forwards, open the top arm up. Utthita Trikonasana. Pull up on the quads, muscles above the knees. Feel the calves engaging that front leg. You don't have to be able to touch the floor. It's more important that we're opening up laterally and feeling it in the right places. So the hips are pressed open. You'll feel it through the inner front leg and laterally through the top side of the body. Should feel nice into the lower back and hip. Maybe go a bit deeper on your next exhale. Tighten through those quads still. And we can lift the torso up from here. We're going straight to our revolved variation from this position. So draw the arms down by the hips, turn to face your front foot, and then do a little step in with your back foot. The back foot is slightly turned out. It's not pointing directly forwards. We're not on a tight rope. So from here, engage the quads. Take your left arm up in the air, the opposite arm to your front foot. We're going to reach forwards and take that hand onto the shin or on top of a block. Don't forcibly lock your front knee joint out. Keep it strong. The back hand goes to your lower back, small of your back. And you should feel this in the hamstrings in that front leg. Square the hips by squeezing the inner thighs together. And this might feel plenty challenging enough for your body, so you don't need to go any further than this. But if you want to go further, take a block or your hand outside your front foot. And then start to rotate the torso. Tightening through the belly, pulling up on the quads. Maybe lift the top arm, looking up towards the thumb. Try not to press down in the bottom hand. Use the muscles and the strength in your legs and your core. Little pressure through that bottom hand. And then looking down, bring the hands to the ground and step into plank. Lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Come through Ardha Mukha Svanasana, upward dog, lift your hips. Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Breathe. Lift your eyes. When you're ready, step your left foot forward. Come up into your high lunge. Nice and strong in the legs again. Pulling that front heel back, pressing that back hip open. Open into your warrior two. And from warrior two, we straighten that front leg. Reach forwards through the fingertips. Open your top arm up. Draw the navel towards the spine. Laterally opening through the top side of the body. Pull up on the calf muscles and this front leg, the quad muscles, muscles of the knees. Squeezing the glutes as well. You can relax the ear to the shoulder, do what feels good for your neck. On your exhales, maybe you find more space, but don't worry if you're not near the floor. You can take, if the hand does come to the floor, you can take it outside the foot or inside the foot. See how it feels. Tighten through the belly, squeeze the muscles in the legs, lift the torso up. Same on this side, we're just going to draw the back hand up. Take a little step in. So we've now got right hand up in the air, facing that front foot, slightly turned out with that back foot. We're going to reach forwards, take the hand onto the shin or a block. The back hand goes to the small of your back. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other and feel the pelvis set nicely so that we're not sticking our bum out to one side. And you should be feeling this in the hamstrings. Have a soft bend in that front leg and just listen to your body, don't force it. You don't want to feel pulling in the back of the knee. So you can stay here or take the front hand onto a block outside your foot or onto the fingertips outside your foot. Start to twist, squeeze those inner thighs together even more. Drawing the back shoulder back and open, maybe looking up and lifting that top arm. Trying to press as little through the bottom hand as you can. Feeling this in the outer hip and glute. Nice and strong through the muscles in the legs. Really rotating through the spine. And then when you're ready, look down. Bring the hands to the mat, step to plank and Chaturanga Dandasana. Travel through to upward dog. Lift your hips, downward dog, and breathe. From your downward dog, lift your eyes, step or jump in. Come up halfway. Take a breath. And exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Curl up, palms come together. We're going again, reach up nice and tall. And fold back down again. Lift your eyes, step the left leg back into another lunge. Pulling that front heel back, pressing the back hip open, really squeezing the back glute. From here, open into warrior two. We're making our way into side angle lunge. So again, you might have to adjust the distance of your feet. I'm going for a longer, wider stance. You might want to do the opposite. So hands are in line with shoulders in our warrior two. Squeeze the glutes, draw the front knee out. And we're going to take our front elbow inside that front thigh. The back arm reaches overhead. We're drawing a line from the fingertips all the way down to the back heel. Squeeze the glutes. Feel the hamstrings in that front leg working. The bottom hand, fingertips can find the floor. Try not to push into the bottom hand though. Use the legs. You can add a bind here. Otherwise, just stay where you are. I'm not going to bird of paradise, but you're welcome to add that in if it's in your practice. So make your way into it. Otherwise, stay in your side angle and breathe. Couple more breaths, nice and strong in the legs. And then let's derotate and lower the back knee to the mat. Facing that front foot, we're going to lift up. So in this tall kneeling lunge, tuck your bum under, press the back hip forward. Really should be feeling a stretch into the hip flexors. Pull the front heel towards you, and you feel those hamstrings again. Arms can raise up. And then the right leg is in front. So I want you to laterally open to your right. So you're moving away from the side where the hip is open. Tighten through the belly, squeeze the back glute, press that hip open, and then come up. Bring the palms together at the chest. Take your left elbow outside your front thigh. So you're adding a twist as you take it outside the thigh. We can press the palms together and look back, and this might be as far as you need to go. You want to feel it in the outer hip and glute as well as rotating through your spine. To go deeper into it, hook the back toes, extend the back leg. Squeeze the glutes. Trying to lift the chest up off the thigh rather than sinking into it. Engage the quads in the back leg. Tighten through the belly. And then derotate, bring your hands to the ground, step to plank, lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Travel through Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Lift your hips, downward dog, breathe. Now we're coming on to the other side. So when you're ready, lift the eyes, step your left foot forwards. Come up into your high lunge. Really pulling that front heel back, pressing the back hip open. Nice and strong. Turn into warrior two. Ooh, I'm nearly falling over now. Nice deep warrior two. Squeeze the glute, draw that front knee to track the toes. Front elbow goes inside the thigh, back arm reaches up and over. Keep breathing, press that front thigh open. Feel the hamstrings in the front thigh. Maybe find the floor with the fingertips, but try to press through the legs rather than pushing all the weight into the hand. To be stricter with it, you can just lift it off the floor. Add your bind if you did it on the other side. Go to bird of paradise if you did it on the other side. Couple more breaths. And then when you're ready, derotate, lower the back knee. We'll first of all come up into that nice active high lunge. So tuck your bum under and press the back hip forward. Get a good stretch into the hip flexors. Pull the front heel back, but not too hard. I don't want you to go into cramp in the hamstrings, but I want you to feel them there. Arms can raise up. Now we're going to bend to our left, opening up through the lateral chain, really getting into that hip as well. Keep squeezing the glutes. Keep breathing through your nose. Come up, bring the palms together in front of the chest. Take your right elbow outside your left thigh. Add a twist, push the palms together, trying to aim your thumbs to your sternum as you look over the shoulder. You can stay there or hook the back toes. Pull up on the quads, keep lifting the chest. And then when you're ready, do rotate to plank. Lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Travel through to upward dog and lift your hips, downward dog. From downward dog, we're going to lower our knees to the mat. Nice and wide, big toes touching. Send your bum back to your heels and just have a moment to breathe. If you need to have a drink, have a drink. Otherwise, just rest. Drawing the heart rate back down if you feel like it's crept up. Controlling those inhales and exhales, nice gentle long breaths in. Okay, when you feel ready, we're going to come back up to tabletop and once more into downward dog to come up to standing. So hook your toes, lift your hips. Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Walk, step or jump your way in. Come up halfway, take a breath. And exhale, fold. Curl up through your spine, stand nice and tall at the top of the mat. We're going for a wide stance. So stepping 1 foot back. So we're using the length of the mat now. Nice and wide with the legs. You can have the big toes slightly turned in. Hands onto the hips. You can have a couple of yoga blocks out in front of you for support if you know your hamstrings struggle with your folds. And all we're going to do is push the bum back and hinge and then come up again. So think about pushing your bum back, and as you hinge, I want you to start to feel your hamstrings. You can soften the knees and slightly bend the knees. Find a position that you're feeling that stretch. Stay there for a couple of breaths and then squeeze your glutes, pull up on your thigh muscles and stand up. I want you to feel the quadriceps working in that fold the whole time. So as you hinge over, pull up on the muscles above the knees, engage them. Going as deep as you can, keeping that hinge, keep pulling up on the thighs, and then standing up, squeezing the glutes at the top. And we'll do that once more, hinging over. And maybe you've got your hands on the floor or hands on your blocks. You're welcome to transition into headstand from here if you are able to get your head down to the floor, but just make sure you're pressing through the shoulders and not sinking your weight into your head. So to go into headstand, hands roughly in line with the feet, create a tripod base, lift the hips, hit the top of the head to the ground. Keep lifting the hips, pulling in at the hips, taking the legs out and up. Pressing through those shoulders. Taking them out wide to come back down again, hinging at the hips, really suctioning in, the belly and the thighs squeeze together. And then as we've lowered the legs down, from here, bring your hands to the hips, pull up on the quads and stand up. You can bend your legs. From our tall standing position here, we're just going to turn the toes out now and come into some wide squats. So make sure the width of stance is going to be different for everyone. You need to be able to get your knees to track your toes. So if you go too wide, you'll see the knees will pop in and the feet will go out. So that means you'll need to either open the hips more so the knees are tracking the toes, or you might need to slightly narrow your stance. I'm going to take the arms up overhead, take a breath. Sit down into a squat, pulling those knees apart, but just so that they're tracking the toes. Keep squeezing the glutes, keep pulling those knees out, drawing the lower ribs in and down. Arms can go wider, palms together is too much. Keep breathing. You can slightly rock side to side. Lift up, standing tall. Bring the arms down, hands to the hips, turn the toes in, hinge and fold. And doing that once more. As you're in your fold, breathe into it. Maybe hold on to the outer edges of your ankles, or you can hook your peace fingers around your big toes. Inhale. As you exhale, hinging over, pulling down slightly using the upper body as well. Pull up on the thigh muscles, the quadriceps. And then hands to the hips. Bring yourself up. You can bend the legs to come up if you need to, and turn those feet out again. We'll go back into one more deep squat. So from standing, working out that width that you need for your feet, take the arms up, inhale. Sit down into your squat. Pulling those knees out. Keep breathing through your nose. Another couple of breaths. Nice long breaths. And then let's stand up. Bring the arms down. Turn the big toes in, hinging over. Folding forwards. From here, we're going to send the weight across side to side, so you can bring the hands down or on top of blocks into some Cossacks. Cossacks can be gentle, just with the hands elevated, going to where you can, or you can work a bit deeper. You need to lift the heel up, you can also do that. Working into those adductors and hamstrings more. Just transition side to side at your own pace. Again, still breathing through the nose and challenging your range as well. If you're flexible and you feel like you can sit down here, then try to come up a little bit higher. Even take the arms behind the head and work into a range that you're having to actively really challenge yourself to be in, as opposed to passively sinking into your body's flexibility. Make it a little bit harder. But otherwise, use your hands if you need to use your hands. So from here, we'll lift the hips high, toe heel the feet in, sit into a squat and come onto your bum. Won't make you stay there. That's a lot of leg work. We're going to go through boat pose or L-sit if you've got 2 yoga blocks. And we're just going to do 3 lots of boat pose holds and then shoulder bridge holds. If you are comfortable with wheel pose, you're welcome to go into wheel pose, but we've not done a lot of spine extension work, so just be mindful of that. For boat pose, sitting up nice and tall, lift the legs. You can hold the thighs and just focus on drawing the chest and the thighs towards each other, okay? Next option, release the hands. Next option, extend one leg. Final one, extend both. Stay here and breathe. Keep trying to close that gap between the thigh and the chest, thighs and the chest. Gentle inhales and exhales. And then let's bend the legs, take the legs down to the ground. Just take your bum slightly closer to your heels, not too close. You want about a foot distance between your bum and your heels, and then lie down. So from here, we're going to tuck the bum under, lower back then pushes into the ground. Start to lift the hips, but only lift them to where you can feel this in your glutes and your hamstrings. If you pull your heels towards you, you'll feel the hamstrings engage as well. And it might be that you need to gently move in and out of it. So if you can't quite hold it, just gently move in and out. We don't want to force the hips up and arch into the lower back. So think less about the height of the hips and more about the activation in the body. And obviously, if you can completely open your hips, then do. But pull the heels back towards you, gradually increasing that tension. Don't go full on straight away because you will go into cramp. And just breathe through the nose. Nice and slowly, lower down, hopefully feeling lots of heat and activation there in the glutes. It's important to note as well, the foot position can change where you feel it more. So if my feet are closer to my bum, you'll probably feel it a bit more in your bum. And if your feet are a bit further away, you're going to feel that more in your hamstrings. So it's not right or wrong. You can mix it up a little bit. We're going to rock our way back up to boat pose. So just gently rocking up. From here, lifting the legs, your variation of boat, 5 breaths. Making sure whichever variation you're in, you are challenging yourself. And then gently lower the legs down, send the bum forwards, onto your back. Again, into shoulder bridge. You're welcome to go into wheel if you're feeling good for wheel tonight. Otherwise, tuck your bum under, press the lower back into the ground, then let's lift the hips. You want to feel more pushing down through your heels as you push down and pull them towards you. Keep breathing through the nose. You're feeling that muscle activation. And then gently lower down to the mat. Hug the knees in. One more time, we're going back up to boat pose. So rock your way up onto your seat bones, sitting tall, lifting the legs up, finding your variation of boat. Maybe even going wide legs, reaching through the middle for a bit of a challenge. Do a mixture, move in and out of those positions. And then gently lower the legs down. One more time, back into our shoulder bridge or wheel pose. Big toes pointing forwards, make sure the feet don't spin out. Tuck your bum under, open the hips, pull the heels towards you, pushing down and pulling them towards you. Drawing the lower ribs down, not letting them flare. And then gently lower down to the ground. You're gonna hug your knees in. You can go to happy baby or plow. If you've been in wheel pose, then go into plow. Otherwise, rock side to side or hold the outer edges of your feet, or your ankles, calves or thighs. Pressing the lower back into the mat, gentle rocks. Feel free to do any poses or postures that your body feels it needs right now. Otherwise, in your own time, when you're ready to, come down into Shavasana Relaxation. Find somewhere on the mat that feels good for your body. You can really just let go and sink into the ground without having to fidget or readjust. You can have palms open to the ceiling, just surrendering the body down. Or maybe rest the hands onto the belly. Just feeling those inhales and exhales. Starting to slow the breath down. Count how many seconds it takes to breathe in. Count how many seconds it takes to breathe out. With each round of breath, aim to lengthen them naturally. And we want the breath to become so soft and light that you can almost no longer hear it. Instead, just feeling the sensation of it entering and leaving the body. Whenever you feel ready, you can start to invite a bit of movement into the body. Feel free to stay lying down as long as you need. If you need to stay here for longer, then do. Otherwise, when you feel ready to, you can start to come up. Making sure that once you come up, you're sat in a comfortable position. And then just giving the shoulders a little roll forwards and back. Having a moment just to breathe and readjust. And from there, bring the palms together at the heart center. Namaste. Thank you very much for moving with me, guys. Well done.